jurisdictions aren't doing what we're doing.
Zoom in.
I feel like that's a step in the right direction to use the technology that we have and to help save on expenses for transport, security. Right. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. I don't see any downside to what we're doing now. But the impression that I got when I was in Boise with the other district judges and the administrative district judges was with Ada County, they just moved in person. And that's that. So,
that's interesting.
Anyway, it's surprising to me, to be honest.
Well, I have an idea on that. Let me do some fleshing it out, and if I think I can fix it.
Let us know. I think we're going to meet with Gladys and Garbett, so hopefully next week. I hope by next Thursday we'll be able to find a time. I think they're both here next Thursday, so if you have something, come talk to me before then.
Yeah, give me a little bit, maybe later this afternoon. I'll pop in and have a conversation with you.
It's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, your next item?
Is the Lander Building. So we have 4 desks, 4 chairs. The PD's office had wonderful items that we were able to repurpose over there, which was fantastic. They now have basic office supplies and 2 desktops for the support staff, all in place. The items that are coming, we have 2 laptops, which has been our biggest expense, but we anticipated that moving forward. And those are being shipped and ready to get here. And Wester's Records destruction needs to be in place once we get staff over there. We'll get them, and that will be a reoccurring thing, but it shouldn't, with only the couple attorneys, it shouldn't need to be emptied that often, so it shouldn't be too bad. Just in a review of the budget, originally was approved $7,000. Again, those computers are going to be $2,700 for the 2 of them for the attorneys. We have office supplies that we have spent so far at $250 and a printer for $200. We did ask IT just before this meeting about a double-sided scanner and wanted to see and anticipate how much that might be. They're going to research that, and I should have that before you soon.
Okay.
That leaves me $3,800 in that budget. But again, right, that will be able to cover all kinds of things. I'm sure there are other items that once they get in there, they'll notice that they need this, that, and whatever.
So when we originally talked about that, Christy wasn't here. Did we identify our funds of where that was coming from?
So what I did is, based on last week's meeting, I put together what we thought we would have left over from the contracts. And I emailed Braden, but what we can do is transfer that money from the contract over into the court-appointed department, add salaries and benefits, and then I put in the $7,000 for startup, and then I put in the remainder that we thought we would have left over as operating. What I'll do is see how this week goes and Tuesday, and then I can readjust these numbers that I had preliminarily done, because we probably have some extra money in salaries and benefits that I can move down to operating. Because at this point, there's only $15,000 to get them through the remainder of the fiscal year as operating as this stands. But again, I think we'll have the abilities to fine tune that a little bit based on additional information as it comes. So that we're only moving money in there and establishing the budget ones.
Okay.
So I'll hold on to this, but we'll use that money if that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to make sure that we clarified on the record where it was coming from, where getting that and what we was doing.
And we did have 3 invoices that needed to be submitted. Is that need to wait to move the budget?
It should.
Okay.
I don't have a problem holding it then.
Although, you know what, we still have some budget authority in that department because we've got some unpaid bills, we just don't have lines established. So maybe what I can do is go ahead and establish the lines. We'll pay it out of there because we'll be moving the money probably within the next couple of weeks anyways. Okay, I'll get you those lines.
Okay, wonderful. Security at the Lander Building. So I was able to get with the court marshals and just confirm, right, all of the alarms and everything that were in there were pulled out to move with adult probation. And they would like to run it similar to they have it in the Sterling Building, and that once staff gets in there, they are to call 911. They are working with IT to make it when somebody dials 911 from an office line over there, that they are also then notified. So then they can be, if a PD is closer, a Pocatello police officer is closer, fantastic, they'll respond, but then our court marshals will be headed over as well. And that's how they would like to run that. They may, as things progress, they may have additional upgrades that they would like to ask for. But for this year, this is how they would like to run it.
Okay.
That'll work.
Okay. And then lastly, on the conflict attorneys, we did ask legal to create an affidavit to be submitted with invoices. They have.
This is,
thank
you have other staff in the gallery now.
Yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to come up.
You're the one that's gonna see this the most, Brandon.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I did not.
That's fine.
Not gathered.
No, you're fine. So this is what legal has drafted for us, and I, upon approval, would like to send it out to all of those, the 2 attorneys that we currently have on an hourly rate, to be able to just have them submit with their invoices, just they're confirming, right, that they are, those top 3 things, that they are a good standing, right, with the Idaho Bar, that they have. It does say entered into agreement. I'm slightly concerned with that, with a few of the other ones that have said that they won't enter into an agreement with us, but that they will start submitting hourly invoices. And the last that they, are true and accurate.
So,
Isn't the agreement just the rate?
yeah, just the $85 rate, and then I'll ask for the attorneys, judges, everybody. This is kind of the standard affidavit that you were talking about, Judge. Is it-
Similar, it sounds like it's similar to what ours is different in just simply we just sign an affidavit saying that we don't have anything under advisement more than 30 days old. But, I mean, what the intent here is exactly what we talked about.
Are you wanting that submitted with every bill they do, or just one time?
So there's a place to say for the month of, so I did anticipate with every bill, they would say, right, that this month I am in good standing, right, and it's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted,
Yep.
I think you just submit it monthly, what school judges do.
Okay.
So
I-
that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
It's really up to you.
I think that's,
If we're gonna do it on a monthly, do they have notaries in there? That part I wondered.
You know, ours is just witnessed by an administrative assistant. It doesn't need to be notarized. But it's up to you. Again, it's up to you.
Well, I don't wanna put that extra burden on every month. I mean, if it was a one-time deal, notary's good. If we're gonna do it on a monthly basis, why take the effort or,
I would-
the
I
time
would
to
just have a signature of-
notarize it?
just have them sign.
I think if they just sign it, that's
Just
enough.
sign it for that. That's not a,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. So just remove the bottom portion after the attorney's signature.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That's, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my
And I will
feeling.
get it sent out to the attorneys that we currently have. That was my last question, that the contracts that have ended, that I am hoping still have cases today and will be switched to the hourly rate. Am I okay to go ahead and send this to them and kind
Yes.
of just reiterate, it's $85 an hour, 10-minute increments, to be submitted monthly?
Yeah, we're all on the same page.
Okay. Okay, excellent. I will get those sent out after the meeting. That is all for the conflict that I have, unless somebody else has.
I'm good.
Very good, thank you.
Sorry, guys, we hit executive session probably right as you guys came in, and
Well, we've been out in the hall waiting at you.
the judge, he just walked in. He walks in like the boss, so.
Well, I don't know what you guys are discussing.
I need a new person. Let's switch already.
And actually, I'll have Braden step out with you and just refresh with you a couple of things that we just talked about in the executive, so that you're up to date, so that we don't have to go back.
You might have
to
gotten
that.
volunteered for some stuff, so. Thanks, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Item number 4 for me, a recommendation for the Historical Museum re-room. We were super excited that as Dan went out with contractors, that he was able to find someone. Thomas Robinson Roofing has submitted a bid proposal to do the project. Dan is confident that he will be able, that he understands what the project is and was more than capable to do the work that we have asked him to do. The problem, the hurdle, is the fact that it's about $30,000 more than what we had budgeted for. I had reached out to Christy, but she was out of the office, so I didn't know if you had time to, oh, wonderful. So she's got a couple ideas of where we might cover that.
So we're only short roughly 39,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have the capital acquisition trust. There is still some budget authority remaining in there of about $330,000 that we could use. That's probably the easiest.
I'd use that.
I
a good
agree.
spot.
And we have to do it. I mean,
And we'll get
it's
that
gotta be
done. When are they gonna have that done?
So we haven't answered that. It was just a proposal before
Okay.
the board. But
Okay.
if that's something you guys want to approve, I'd be happy to get a timeline.
I would like to, if we've identified funds, I would like to get a contract as fast as possible and get it signed and get it done, so people you're gonna watch the building season take off like crazy, and we're gonna watch prices just go through the roof. So as fast as we can get a contract signed, we need to.
I was thrilled that they had space in their schedule.
Yes.
So that was great. But yeah, I can get the contract in works and ask them to propose a timeline, so I can bring that before the board on Tuesday.
Okay.
Wonderful.
And then, when you do that, let's officially have that in the record somewhere, in writing, where we're taking this money from too.
She just got there, but
Okay.
we need to move that, or that's what we were at.
Okay.
Okay, this is in
Just pay the
contingency.
bill. When you
Okay.
pay the bill, we'll pay the difference from there.
Put that
Pay the
line
first
Okay.
part out of, just in case it comes under budget.
Okay,
Pay the first part out of where it was intended, and then the difference will be the rest.
okay, cool.
Right.
Excellent. Okay, will do. Last item is a procurement update for you. Again, right, as Commissioner Tevye alluded to, as the summer gets going, so does all of our projects. The fuels reduction grant coordinator has now been switched. CCOG is going to handle that procurement. As we are piggybacking off of their bid, those items will still come before the board, but it'll be fantastic to get that project up and going as CCOG runs that. The Wellness Gravity Sewer System has been posted on our website and will be in the paper for the following 2 Sundays. And the road hot mix, the piggyback was approved on Tuesday, and that project will move forward as well. Photography is due on Monday, and we have received 2 bids so far, and so we're excited about that project. Both of them well under the budget that we anticipated, so we're excited.
Did you get Kyle Riley's bid on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Was it confirmed where that 10,000 was going to come from? I had talked to Emma about just taking that out of an operating line and county operations,
Mhm.
but I don't know that that's formally been.
We had that conversation. when we
Right, that
talked
she was
about
going to
it.
follow up with Christine, so it hasn't formally, no.
Okay, and I haven't had a chance to catch up with her, but when I watched the meeting, I saw that that still needed done, so.
It was Emma's salary. You wasn't here when we had the conversation.
So if now's an appropriate time, you could earmark, or just say, that's where I'm looking for.
Out of where?
County operations, we'll just do, we can either do a photography line, we can set one up specific for that so that you can track it separate, or we can just throw it operating. Your preference.
I'd rather set up the line so that we
Yeah,
Yep.
keep that.
so it's clear.
Yep.
So we'll do a county operations,
Photography services.
Yep.
and that amount was how much? Up to?
Up to 10,000.
Yes.
Okay.
But both of them are well under, so we're excited about that.
And we won't add budget authority, we'll just pay it out of here because there will be sufficient funds?
Yes.
Wonderful.
It was, you weren't here for the interesting fact, we were trying to put a picture on a website, that the website may have used a picture from a foreign military for a uniformed item, and we didn't have copyright authority on any pictures, so we couldn't put anything. So there's some of this, there's some reason. We've definitely got to get some pictures taken, man. We gotta get some stuff, because it's getting hard to communicate.
We were reached out to and set straight.
Yep.
The next one is the HVAC project out at the jail. Levi has finalized the product that we needed, and that has been set to be ordered. As well as the medical bay renovation. That one is on track, and they are set to begin those dominoes as they fall on May 17th. The architectural services for the re-roof on the jail detention is the last one. That contract was signed on Tuesday, and they are working towards a baseline for that project. Okay. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Dan?
Thank you. All right, Chase, you're next.
Name, title. Yep, introduce yourself.
Name is Chase Clark, title building official. Okay, so thanks for having me today. I bring a situation that's usually fairly straightforward. There's been a change on the state of Idaho side of things. We have a modular building, which is basically a prefabricated building that has been built and sold to a Cameron Salt. And he's in a situation now where it was never originally permitted, and so the state of Idaho is, making a deal about it a little bit. And normally they would work with us, the local jurisdiction, to get this moved forward as long as we would, what they call, accept the structure. The change in this case is they're asking for a lot more technical language and a formal letter, and the legality of that kind of jumped out at me somewhat. And so when I draft a letter, I'll bring that and then, probably have you, the commission, sign that, if that's what you would like to do.
And that will need to be reviewed by legal.
Yep.
before
Yeah,
it comes.
yep, absolutely. Yep. And so what we have currently is a situation where normally the state of Idaho would come in after we accepted the structure and actually inspect the utilities. Currently, the county doesn't offer inspection services for utilities. And so we're left with interior building components of plumbing and electrical that won't have inspections. And so my recommendation would get a third-party licensed professional, either a plumber and electrician, to go in and look over that and, basically write a statement that says, yes, this is per the, the standards of the profession and things like that, to get him moved forward. And then that's pretty much it. I've already reviewed, I've sent pictures to that you guys can take a look at. He's shown ample evidence that this is built with plenty of rebar. It even shows intentions. And so there's no question in my mind that was built correctly. And then, of course, we inspected the site installation, so that was done correctly too. So the building structure's fine, in my opinion, and so I feel that this would be an acceptable structure. It's just those utility components we need to resolve, and then that letter, basically, for the state of Idaho to follow through on their end. So.
Any questions?
No, I had a chance to talk to Chase about this last week, and yeah, it is the suggestions that Chase has indicated here, and then, like I said, with the pictures, their opinion of the structure itself. I have no problem with accepting the structure, especially if they have licensed electricians and plumbers that will sign off on it. Yep. And then we just prepare the letter, and like I said, it'll go legal. It'll have Chase's review on it too, as the building official, to make sure it's in compliance with applicable code. I'm fine with this.
And
So-
this works for Mr. Salt as well. He's comfortable with the direction that you're requesting.
Yeah, and he's been, I wanted him to have an opportunity to come so that he could just explain. He's gone through a lot to get this going. It's been like 2 years at least for the structure. So
My only question on it would be the paperwork and everything that we do. How does that become a permanent record on this piece of property? So that, somebody down the line buys the place.
Yeah, what would happen?
They know.
What would happen after we probably open a permit, and we would then indicate that the permits or the building is as part of the record of the permit, our letter of acceptance, and then the permits are closed out just in your normal fashion with the instructions and then probably in deed you would have that file or something attached to it.
Yeah, we could definitely do that as a requirement on the deed.
And that was the only thing that I would like. I'd like it to be part of a permanent record with the property, so that
Yeah,
I think
and that was
everybody's covered.
And I think looking at the pictures on it, it was, that's actually pretty cool. The
Yeah.
question we were just talking about. There you go.
Yep, that it is.
Yeah, if I had pictures like that for every inspection, I mean, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but that's also part of, to your point, Ernie, that, and I'll review that with legal too, having like a hold harmless type of, or waiver of liability that he signs, and then that can also be part of that, so that once it gets passed down the line, individuals know that, hey, this is what this structure is. So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, my recommendation would be is to go ahead and if you guys can prepare that, and as soon as possible Tuesday, if
Okay.
you have all the paperwork together, we can put it on the agenda then.
okay,
And get it signed and get it done so they can start using this.
perfect. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
I would agree.
Cool.
Okay, thank you
Thank
much.
you. Hey, Scott, if you ever need to build a bathroom, you should see the pictures and how they did this in this project. It's actually, I'm just saying, if we got to put more facilities in, this is pretty cool precast. So,
Well-
thanks, Chase.
What we was just talking
Yeah,
about?
exactly. I mean, this is like,
All right, Scott, you and your team.
all right.
All my scout uniforms just for trail today?
Nice.
Can you remember the oath?
No. Now, when I was 12, for sure. I can remember it. So, Scott Crowther, Events Director, Business Manager.
Anna Hughes, Event Center Coordinator. Lynette Smith.
So, we're here to talk about a
Who do you belong
contract
to?
for.
Smith's in Montpelier.
Oh, no, I meant like, is there
What organization?
organization? Who
Just
are,
myself, basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I also represent the district, Idaho, District 8, and Junior Rodeo.
that's what
The
we were,
secretary.
that's what we were
Yeah.
getting at.
That's,
But this one's me personally, not with
Okay.
us two.
so, Lynette would like to rent out, or we'd like to sign a contract with Lynette to use the the grandstands, gosh. The grandstands to run her Michael Johnson Vegas Toughest Qualifier event. It squeezes, sandwiches right in between junior high rodeo and high school rodeo up there. And a lot of the contestants that participate in both rodeos also participate in this event. And so it's a great piece of, or a great event to kind of fill the void right there. Because we don't have fees for the upper grandstands, everything's contract. This is a full fee contract, but we just wanted to bring it before you guys. So,
Well, this one confused me because I didn't know exactly what it was about. Because we'd had the cage match. People wanted to come, but it was qualifying for Vegas, so I'm thinking it's rodeo.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, I mean, from a logistics standpoint, we're going to turn the grandstands into rodeo arenas for before the junior high rodeo, and we're just going to keep it groomed and keep it prepped all through high school rodeo. So it actually makes it pretty easy for us just to. It's a really turnkey on this event. There's no flipping back and forth. So, and then as you can see, we retain like concessions and RVs and horse stalls, all that kind of stuff.
I'm fine with that.
And I have done it the last 2 years. This will be the third year.
oh, but we didn't sign a contract before?
Nope,
It was full fee.
yep.
This year we took the grandstands off the fee schedule.
Okay,
Okay.
yes. I was giving her back. Tell her she got it for free.
I wish, no.
Did you have a chance to look this over?
We have not yet.
Okay.
I have, I don't have a problem.
I've looked it over and I
Yeah,
didn't have any
pretty
problem with seeing.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the contract for the Michael Johnson Vegas Toughest Qualifier event as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, next we have a lease agreement with Portland Health Trust. They have offered some space for us to use down at the City Center campus, specifically for the use of an outside vendor that we use for our concerts. Because they're located out of Boise, this would give them an office that is in city to use. The lease is there's a couple things. I talked to Christy about how the lease is written. The lease says that they'll charge us monthly and then they'll reimburse us quarterly. So we have to have some way to do that. I know we talk about it.
Did you find out if it was going to be for the full
Seasonal.
year or seasonal? Okay.
I think it's going to be for the full year. I don't think it's going to be seasonal.
Okay.
the way that is set up. I mean, it's got monthly payments through 2027. So I'd say the full year, the way it.
So when Scott and I talked for the remainder of this fiscal year, because his budget is pretty tight and unknown, we probably will not have the abilities to open the budget to cover the rent, because basically it's going to be a wash. But the proposal would be to possibly pay that out of county operations through September. And then in October, we would anticipate this during the budget process and then include both revenue and the expenditures in the budget.
So I have some partners. Is it's an outside vendor. It's not us.
Yeah,
and
why,
I have.
why are we?
I
No,
don't.
so it's, the reason they want to go to us is because it would be our space that we can use for whatever we choose.
It's a tax write-off for the Portland Health Trust is what they're
Yes.
looking for.
And
I don't want to play that game.
yeah, I really have a. I would like to not, and then we have an outside vendor that would have access or use to this, and then are we subleasing then, and then we're paying tax on the sublease because then we're. I would prefer not to do it that way. I'd prefer if that or if that vendor wants space, then they need to provide that. They need to work that out. And I understand that it might be a space that we could possibly meet in or use or whatever, but I think that's a different discussion than having.
Well, I know the
vendor
house.
there.
The house isn't the nicest place.
No, it's
out
not,
there.
and that's what I'm saying is.
But I hate separating your staff too in two different locations. That's not good to me.
No.
And like Terrell says, maybe the conversation is, what do we do up there to make a better space in the planning for the future?
Maybe they give us this money and we build different.
I don't think that it's about donating money. I think this is about donating space.
Yeah.
And this is about helping, this does give us a little bit more control over, if we have another, whoever we have contracts with, if we wanted to use the space, then that option is ours to use that space to sublease, regardless. So would it provide that? I agree, Commissioner Moser, that separating the staff would be tough, but I also agree that we don't have the most professional meeting places that we currently.
So why don't we take?
And this is a net zero for us.
So this is something. So I was really what I've been thinking about doing is just taking and you build a 50 by 100 or a 40 by 60 steel building slab on grade right next to your blue and extend your yard down. And what you do is you simply I would do like a 40 by 60 and just turn that into your office building. And you can finish it out, and you can probably do that for, that's really what we need to do. And the house is to its end of life, its roof's gone. You could keep it for storage if you wanted, but to tell you the truth, I would flatten all those buildings and get rid of them all.
I definitely don't disagree with you. This is, again, I just wasn't coming in here to ask for.
No, I know that,
building.
but
this is a.
I know.
So the first full year of operations we had at the wellness complex.
We had the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would keep staff up there. Someone else could use the facility if they needed to, because you could keep limited information.
Yeah, they brought in
So.
It was a double wide office.
And they could pay for it. It was like a little modular unit. It looked like a construction trailer.
Is that more professional?
Have you had the opportunity to look this over, this one?
But at least it would be on site.
They weren't sent to legal, they were sent through the agenda
Okay.
request, but I've been.
So, this one, none of us are in favor of signing it, right?
And it's not that
It's on hold.
It's not that you need an office. We need to correct that issue. That we have two separate issues here. I have an issue of we need office space, but we also have this issue where I am not comfortable having a third party office doing business out of county provided space. Then we start getting into picking winners and losers, and then the soccer people want to have an office, or then whoever wants. And I get that. We've got enough people, then this goes into the horse discussion, and I totally understand.
Which is part of their contract too, right? So the office that we have for the people to administer the horse stuff is part of the Pocatello Downs, that's part of their contract. And if we had space on site to have these guys, use as an office, we would do that. There's, I think, a room with a printer.
It doesn't work.
But that's it. There's no place for our concert folks to operate out of. I don't have the space on site to give it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, after our conversation the other day, I think we're going forward with this group, but we have a year left in the contract, and this is a big trying year for me, a proving year to see. The other deal is we've already signed other agreements with Portneuf, and I'm not always happy with what went on, so I know legal would have to review anything more in depth before I would go that direction myself.
and typically we do send our contracts through the agenda request. Brian and I talked a little bit more. Maybe there are times that we send them to them prior to the agenda request. I know he tries to pull them and read them at that point in time. And so we can change the process if that's the case.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is different than the contract we just signed to me. It's binding the county for a while. And so, anyway, yeah, let's get if there's a licensing or an agreement, let's get a contract to our legal team. But at this time right now, doesn't sound like any of the commissioners
And like I said,
in favor of moving forward.
We need to find it. We need to find an office space solution. And this one is not. I've read through this, and I'm not comfortable with this. I have some burrs, and yeah.
Well, I would not have brought it to you guys had I not felt like it was a good solution.
I know.
So
I know that.
I mean, I appreciate your guys' your input and your decision.
But I have an idea.
All right.
I have something that I'd like to, and I didn't realize something until we said something earlier, and we might have an idea. So.
All right. Do you have a potential concert?
Yeah.
Talk about it. Okay.
So we have an opportunity to help in purchasing a rather large concert to bring to the amphitheater for this year. We do have the line item established in my budget, but it's not funded because we use potential revenues from concerts to put it through to that. So, but there is a line item already in there that we could use, but it's just not funded, right?
For which?
The concerts, to bring in concerts.
Well, currently, because there's no cash in that fund, yes.
There's the named artist is not out yet because it's under contract.
It's not under contract,
and we're not.
It's just a proposal, and we're currently in competition with other.
And we don't have an executive session,
No.
so we can't.
But we did have an option for funding.
We do have an option for funding, and we did look to find an option for funding. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Christine?
Do we need to take 5 and let you two figure something out for a minute?
No, I've got it worked out.
Okay.
I'm just not a salesperson, so I was trying to think of a pitch. No. We do have within the county operations budget, we had some unknown costs that potentially were going to come up there, one-time monies. We budgeted some money under potential litigation. So what we could do is we could reallocate that money, or a portion of that money, because we're not going to need all of it, obviously. We could reapportion a portion of that and then allocate it for this concert, and then that would essentially be the seed money. Once the concert was accepted, ran through, if the contract was written appropriately, then the seed money would be replenished first. So that would make that whole.
Okay.
And then we would be able to replenish that. I do not believe we're going to need that full amount of potential litigation money.
What's the date on the potential concert? What's the date on the potential concert?
Just in August.
Just in August?
Mhm.
I mean, if we wouldn't need that by August?
No, I do not believe so.
Okay.
So that would replenish the reserves, because at this point, I think that money will most likely roll back into reserves. And if it needed to be budgeted for again next year, we could. And there is a possibility we might need to budget some of that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But again, we won't need the full $1.5 million. So that is an option if you choose to.
Okay, and I've thought about, and this is just throwing it out there, for ARPA funds, and what I've wondered, if this fit under the $7 million that would be out on the side, and then,
You mean the first 10?
no, I'm talking about the 7 million.
They have an economic issue that they put out there
That if it fit in any of those categories,
first.
then we could, the money that we got back would go back into the general fund.
No, it won't. Well, I shouldn't say no, it won't. I would need to further research how that would work.
Okay, my understanding was that if we spent it in one area, we got these funds back that we could. And that's why I was looking, because if we can have more freedom on some of the ARPA monies, I'd like to look into that too,
I think
is,
with the current proposals that the commission has brought forward on ARPA, if you chose to use that 10 million for general county operations, we could do that. But I think with your sewer money, with your, the forensic pathologist, and also with the,
ISU.
I can never remember that. I think that's going to absorb that 7 million.
Okay, and that's,
And so
if
we-
that's where we're going with that, and we have, that's what I want to make sure that we have projects to cover that before, then we can spend the 10 million.
We definitely could use
Easier.
part of the 10 million, because that's for general county operations. And then, yes, when it does come back in, now I would 100% be comfortable putting that back, because it would be county operations.
But so I've just thrown out another option.
Yeah.
I think that it's something that we'd like to move forward on.
Yeah, no,
And myself.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I think you might be right on that, but again, it's been a while since I've looked at it, so I don't know if
And
that switch is
I need to
correct.
schedule some time with Brian to run through, because everybody says, have your legal sign off on.
Very much so.
on Functions
Very
and
much.
purposes of that spending, but the 10 million would be an easy answer for ARPA funds.
I'm okay with that, because we're not gonna get to that anytime soon, so.
So I think
Are you
we're
okay with me
moving.
giving a verbal commitment to move forward?
Yes.
I'm okay with
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yes.
Have them start
Well,
working through,
We will identify which source we use for funds, but
yeah, have them work through contract negotiations
You wanna
for,
do a motion for that?
I think we should do a motion, so it's on the record.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we authorize Scott Crowther to give a verbal commitment for
$250,000.
$250,000 for the Concert Act, as discussed, with funds to be identified, where they come from
At a later point.
at a later point.
So we have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Just one point of clarification on the port. Did you want any review, or you just want to cancel that? Do you want me to just call them, let them know we're not moving forward, not interested?
At this point, no.
I'm not interested in
All
it.
right, thank you.
hey,
Thank you.
Scott, are you staying around for just a second, or are you going back to your office?
I was going to head back up, but if you can stick around, I can.
If you want to hang out for just a minute, as soon as we're done here, if you got a second.
Fine.
All right, Kyle.
Hello, everybody. Kyle Burmester, Tyson Coster from Bannock County Public Works. We wanted to just kind of fill you in a little bit on some issues we're having with our SIL4 expansion project going on at the landfill.
Yay.
Good news, good news.
Whenever you start with "let me fill you in," it's like that's usually.
You really want to know.
It's been a week.
Hello. Yeah,
You guys know.
we're kind of in that same boat with you. So we've had some new information, I've been out still visiting on this, so we've kind of been going back and forth, but that's why I say to fill you in. So the project was going along, they get down to more of rock. We figured the contract kind of states that they've got drill logs, they know there's some rock in this mountain that they're removing. The hardness of the rock but even the test logs show that. So I guess our difference is they want a change order, okay? And some of these things are unforeseen. Even if you have drill logs, you have blank spots in between there. So you could have hard sections. They would like a change order on blasting. We have hurried and started working with DEQ to make sure all that would be okay. We got a real speedy response out of DEQ and got that approved, and so if we have to go that direction. So our next process is we were working on the change order. We can understand that, we hit hard rock, it was unforeseen, what do you want to do? Well, they want to blast, but then they're kind of acting like, well, like everything. So whatever material's left, and it's not all needing blasted. So we weren't quite, okay, how are we going to determine what's needed to be blasted that we both agree on? Well, they wanted to say whatever we can't dig with our excavator needs blasted. Well, an excavator isn't a ripper, and nowhere in the contract says you can do everything without ripping.
So me personally, I like explosives, but
So,
I do too, but not to the tune of this.
so anyways, this change order is looking at around $430,000 change order.
can you guys just get a truck full of ANFO and a couple, we can go take care of it? I mean,
So we have did a lot of research on what are our options here. So we can keep arguing back and forth and go into a litigation with them, and lots of time involved, money could involve, stuff like that.
We're not gonna move forward.
And, yes, and we have, the issue with that is we have a timing issue because we have airspace that the county has to have for Bannock County, all of its waste. We're responsible for Bannock County's waste. And so we have that issue for a timing. We are getting really close to
running out of airspace?
Running out of airspace, okay? So then we have another option. We agree on a change order and we go in that direction. It will be, just for your information, it will be to the tune of $430,000. Or option 3, we can terminate contract, and we can terminate it on the part of, so it's not like a fight kind of termination, it's a termination for convenience. So they get paid up to whatever they've done right now. We're good, they're good, they've got more jobs than they got more money out there. So they're not really wanting to fight us if we terminate it. They're glad to just, okay, fine, we're gone. We can make more money at this job over here. So there is that option. So we looked into all of what that would consist of. So we got a plan together of, if we terminate, can we get the work done in time? What money is it going to be? And all the parts to it that way. So we checked, and there's availability through a few of the contractors out there, that they are still some hungry ones out there and available. So we see that there's an availability. Money-wise, you're rebidding. The only thing that helps us in that part is you're rebidding with what we were going to start to bid later this year anyway, which is the liner. So once you put them together and bid it, you could probably get a little better price because it's a little bigger job for them. With engineering, they have found that we could be up to maybe a couple $100,000 higher by going this rebid, but we could net zero it and be about the same as what these guys are wanting out of us, because this is just one change order and we're not done yet with them, and they're not a very cooperative company.
This will be
So,
the second change, we've already done one.
what is your recommendation? 1, 2, or 3?
So,
Financially or from the heart?
well,
1, 2, or 3?
To benefit Bannock County.
Yeah, 1, 2, or 3.
So that we can have the airspace that we have and are required to have.
so I got
That's
a
a
little.
big part of it too.
So I got the information that would make me feel good that the timeline that we've got presented to us from the consultants on this job right now is we can still get lined and done by November. And that we looked over the timeline and it looks doable. I've talked to.
Is that bidding back out or is
Yes,
that? using-
that's bidding, getting another person in here and just getting it done.
And then you're talking about cost line.
Cost, we can't say that it's not gonna cost the county more money.
Is it gonna cost more than the 500,000 plus 200,000 on top of that?
It could.
So-
So what they're saying is it's
But
5 to 6.
You're adding the liner part of it.
And that was my next statement.
Well, so what we're looking at is they get paid by the material they're moving right now. So material moved out, it's this much per yard. What we did is we looked at the last couple bids that are out there for material, or same kind of thing, getting paid for material, moving material. And with the blasting and everything, yeah, they're probably, if it's a dollar more right now because of fuel and everything, it could be, 100, 200,000.
So again, it comes back to my question. What is your recommendation? What is your course of action that you would be proposing?
Well, with the part of getting calls right before this meeting, I had came into this meeting with the fact of maybe more of a guarantee of saving some money. I was looking at going with a change order. With the calls I've heard today, they still haven't signed on their end the change order and don't quite agree with it. And so at this point, if they do not agree with what we gave them change order, I'm suggesting to move forward with termination.
I think you have your answer then, because, that's,
Review.
So I'm not asking for that today. I just wanted to give my directive of where I feel we should be going. Then I will need to get with legal to get the termination.
We're talking about termination. It's got to
Yep.
go through legal.
Yeah.
So
And,
this is gonna cost us more money? Are you gonna be able to absorb it in this 2.7? Or are you wanting to open the budget? What?
can we move it across the budgetary year? Pay as much
So-
contract this year as we can and go.
Some of the parts to this
We
is,
also gotta make sure we're gonna have cash.
No,
yes.
that's full.
Well,
So on that end of it, on the budget end of it, by the time we go out for bid, push back, that's gonna push back our timeline. So a lot of this money will be pushed into next year that we could budget for. We could use the remaining of what we have for the work they're doing.
$822,800.
So,
Pretty close.
are you sure?
842?
23 cents? No? Don't have cents?
822, 808.42.
So do we have, where,
I would say then let's.
So that's how I was looking at it, is budget-wise, if we're a little, I think we might be a little over, but if remediation, we have 2 million in remediation.
Take a
If
look.
we have to work with that, we'll work with that to get through and budget for the rest, the remaining in next year.
Mr. Chairman, my recommendation would be, go ahead, start working with legal, start getting proposals, budgets, monies identified, and let's start moving forward as fast as possible, because we can't, because time is what's gonna kill us here.
yeah, and Kyle and I talked about this the other day. I thought using some of the remediation money was a great way to go because
Yeah.
odds are we're not gonna use
All
all
of
of
it.
that this
Yep.
year, so that would be a good place to find some money if we need it.
Yep.
So I agree with that course of action.
Any questions?
No, and then I'll just keep with, Christie on money-wise to where, as we get farther to the end of the year, whether we have to, with reserves, or not reserves, but with our, revenues
I'll
coming in.
I'll
On
do
this-
cash projections too, see where
this
we're
is-
gonna be at.
this is one that I'd like you to keep us in the loop.
Yep.
Very much so. It's a big item.
Yes.
It's been fast moving the last
Yeah,
5 days.
I was gonna say the last few days, it's,
Yeah, if we,
Well, even today, we thought we were coming in with one proposal, and in 30 minutes, it
Changed?
It's just happening today.
it's the day.
they went from they were good with what we proposed in the change order, and then when you guys went in executive, a phone call come in and said, no, we're not signing it, so.
So what I'll do is if we do a follow-up meeting, then I'll have the revenue projections done and the cash projections to see what we're going to have for future operations. And maybe at that time, we can make a look into ARPA funds to see what we might need to subsidize the landfill with.
I would think with, when you did the budget for them last year, revenue projections, did you factor in the rate increase that we talked about?
No, because it was too late. I didn't receive that information until revenue was
So
done.
we should be good on our revenue there.
Well, yes, but I need to look at what cash is going to be and with future projects that we're going to need. So utilizing some ARPA funds might be a good option because that fund has been taking some pretty big hits lately.
Yeah.
But once we have all the numbers, then you guys can look at that, make a decision, or at least know where we're at if something comes up.
We like numbers.
Cool.
All right, you're up, Christie.
Thanks, guys.
Christopher Hauser, Bannock County Comptroller. Before you is the Heinrich Mall Elections Agreement. That's standard. It's what they do every year to run the elections out there.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the elections agreement as presented with Pine Small.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. With that being said, we are at recess till 1:30.